Good morning, everybody. My name is Brent Forsyth. I'm the Director of Transit and Parking for the City of Barrie. I would like to welcome those watching this virtual announcement. And I would also like to welcome our guest. On the call today, we have Honorable Mary Eng, Minister of Small Business, Export Promotion and International Trade, also a Member of Parliament for Markham and Thornhill. We also have Honorable Doug Downey, Ontario's Attorney General, and Member of Provincial Parliament for Barrie, Springwater, Oro, Medonte. And of course, we have our Mayor, Jeff Lehman. So with that, I am going to first pass the table over to Minister Eng to deliver some remarks on behalf of the Government of Canada.
Great. Well, thank you so much, everyone, and good morning. Thank you, Brent, for that introduction, and a very special thank you to be here with my colleagues, the Attorney General for Ontario, of course, Minister Downey, and your worship is really terrific to be in Barrie, if you will, with you and your colleagues. It's great that we are able to use a virtual format like this to make an important announcement, and I'm thrilled to be here on behalf of my colleague, Minister McKenna. And when I think back just a few months ago, Canadians truly have been through a lot, and our government has made the decision very early on in this global pandemic to be sure that we work on behalf of Canadians, and in doing so, working with all levels of government, and together is what we have been able to accomplish what we have together as Team Canada, if you will, to help Canadians in communities across the country to flatten this curve and to get ourselves on a road to restart and recovery. The support that we put forward has meant that millions of people have been able to put food on the table, keep a roof over their head, and indeed support their families. And while the situation is still evolving with respect to COVID-19, all levels of government are continuing to build on the action that we've made so far so that we can continue to move forward and truly to do so as Team Canada, which is why I'm so excited for today's announcement. Now, more than ever, we must invest in our communities, creating a strong foundation for all of us to rebuild through a joint federal, provincial, and municipal funding. Today, we're announcing support for 5 projects that will improve Barrie's public transit system. It's very exciting. Our federal government is investing over $16 million in projects that will help make Barrie's public transit system more accessible and more sustainable, helping Canadians get to work faster, run errands more easily, and access the essential services, and indeed all of the services that they need in their community. These investments are being made through the public transit infrastructure stream of the Investing in Canada infrastructure plan. And Canadians in Barrie will benefit from the replacement of the city's retiring bus fleet with 30 new low-floor accessible buses. People with accessibility needs will travel more safely with the purchase of 21 new fully accessible and specialized city buses. These are going to replace the existing fleet over the next 7 years, and a new transit hub at the Allendale GO station and a new connection hub downtown will offer transit users a better connected and a more integrated public transit system. More bus stops and platforms, plus additional bicycle parking will make it easier for people to access the public transit system. And through our historic Invest in Canada plan, we're delivering on our promise to build sustainable, resilient communities from coast to coast to coast. And Barrie is absolutely no different, and it's wonderful to be able to do this today. And of course, in Ontario, the overall investments that we have made at the federal level through our infrastructure plan is over $7.5 billion towards more than 2,400 projects across the province, across Ontario, projects that are helping to strengthen communities where you live, where you raise your families, where you work. And we're going to continue to do the work. We're going to work closely with our provincial colleagues, our municipal colleagues, and other partners in the private sector and stakeholders to create the supports that are going to help Canadians through this challenging time. And I think today's investments are going to help build a more connected, a more sustainable community. It's going to create great jobs for Canadians as we restart and rebuild the economy. And I believe that this is critical to our country's recovery as we all move forward together. Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share this extraordinary announcement. And I'm looking forward to continue to work with our provincial and our municipal colleagues right there in Barrie. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Minister, and for the comments as well. So at this time, I'm going to pass it over to Minister Downey to deliver remarks on behalf of the Government of Ontario.
Thank you very much, Brent, and thank you to the Mayor and to Honourable Mary Ng, and also joining us virtually, I know Andrea Kanjan is there, the member for Barrie-Innisfil, and Doug Shipley and John Broussard. So, but on behalf of Laurie Scott, the Minister of Infrastructure for Ontario, I'm just thrilled to be here. This really is one of the best examples of all three levels of government working well together in the interests of our communities. And as some of you will know, last summer we nominated, as a province, 5 projects to go forward, all relating to the infrastructure, as was just mentioned. It's under a program called ICEP, Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program. And again, today we're celebrating that after having nominated it and those projects and sent them to Ottawa, that they were approved, and it's going to improve the quality of life for residents, and not just the city of Barrie, it will improve the quality of life all around our region. It's really quite phenomenal. And as mentioned, I just want to recap the 5 projects. They're significant because we're talking a lot of money. We would do an announcement like this for $1 million, let alone an announcement like this for what's happening. This is transformational. This is really important stuff. 30 conventional city buses, and 21 of them specialized paratransit city buses for people with disabilities to help get around our city and our area more efficiently. Installation of new bus shelters, bus pads, bike racks, all the kinds of things that you want to have in an integrated transportation system. Relocation of the downtown hub to the Allendale GO station. Again, this is transformational. There's going to be extra bus platforms, bus stops, parking, increased safety for bikes, all that sort of stuff. And then 2 new downtown bus stops to improve access, because we want to make sure that our downtown stays integrated and the residents can move around and people can get there and they can get through and get out. Look, the provincial funding, just the provincial funding, you heard what the federal funding was. The provincial funding is another $13.6 million. Again, this is a huge investment in our area. And I'm just really pleased that all 3 levels have the same vision and that we're going to get there. I'm proud to be part of our government that has made a commitment of $7.3 billion in infrastructure over the next 10 years. And this is certainly, this kind of thing is exactly what we're talking about. We can all agree that moving people around, whether it be for recreation or even jobs are critical in getting people to the workplace. I know we had some good job numbers the mayor talked about over the weekend, and our infrastructure needs to match that. We need to keep that going. It's not an accident that we have good job numbers. It's because we're building the infrastructure to facilitate that, and that brings more employers to the area. With the announcement today, it couldn't have been possible without all 3 levels. And so again, I want to thank the mayor and his leadership on council. I want to thank the federal government. So thank you for that, and your counterparts. And of course, Andrea Kanjan has been helping steer this along through as well. For those that don't know, the riding boundary for us provincially and federally is Tiffin Street. So there's a bit of both in both ridings here. You know what? The residents don't care where the riding boundary is. They just want the service. So I look forward to many more announcements like this. Thank you, everybody. And it's just an exciting day.
Thank you very much for the comments, Minister Downey. And at this time, I'll invite our Mayor, Jeff Lehman, to deliver some remarks on behalf of the city.
Thank you very much, Brent. It is always a mistake to let me have a microphone and let me talk about public transit, because I will just go on, but I'm going to try and do this in 4 minutes. First of all, an enormous thank you to Ministers Ng and Downey, who are here today, and Andrea Kanjan, MPP Kanjan, who's on the call. The investment today that's being announced, this is the headline, I think, is $30 million between the federal and provincial governments into public transit in Barrie for buses and for infrastructure. And You know, if we wind the clock back about 6-7 years, the city ourselves made a substantial investment in increasing the amount of service on Barrie Transit. And we really struggled with some of the changes we made initially. But by last year, after several years of this, 2019, we didn't just set a record for ridership. Brent blew the doors off. We had something like a 30% increase in 1 year in ridership. And so the potential to expand the system now is enormous. So the timing of this investment is perfect. The number of buses is frankly staggering, and that is the bulk of the money that's being announced today. But there's some dimensions to this that I just want to highlight. First of all, active transportation. With some of the infrastructure improvements, such as bike racks and the new mobility hub at the Allendale GO station, you're going to be able to switch between modes of public or active transportation in ways that you couldn't before in Barrie. And I know the hub will probably get attention because that's a new bus building that we're going to build at the Allendale GO station to allow people to transfer from Barrie Transit to GO Transit onto the rail system as well as onto the GO bus system. And that, as Minister Downey said, is truly transformational. I think from an urban point of view, we're talking about consolidating all of our public transit and intermodal connections that are disconnected today, but it also opens up opportunities as we shift from downtown over to the Allendale GO station itself. I don't want to miss the opportunity to highlight the benefits for people with mobility challenges and disabled transit in Barrie today. A lot of the infrastructure improvements, which is one of the 5 projects, one of the smaller projects, include shelters and other physical changes to our platforms to help us make it easier for people who have mobility challenges to use the transit system. So in accordance with AODA and also with just wanting to make it easier for people to get around, a lot of thought has gone into these projects to try and ensure that they help make it easier for people who do have a challenge. And then of course, the expansion of our specialized fleet, the 21 new buses, is a direct support both for an aging population, but also with those who can't use our conventional system. So there's a lot in today's announcement. $30 million is probably the big number. And of course, the city is matching that with, or close to matching it under the formula with 11 million of our own. So the total impact of today's announcement is $41 million. It does represent the single largest investment ever in Barrie Transit system. And I cannot thank the Trudeau and Ford governments enough for choosing to make this investment. As we come out of COVID, you know, there will be, I'm sure, further discussion around infrastructure investment and the need to stimulate our economy and make targeted investments. We have here a building project, which is going to itself be a bit of a stimulus project. But, you know, the investment in the purchases of vehicles, because so many of these are made Canadian, I mean, this stays in the Canadian economy most likely. I mean, this goes forward, there's still decisions to be made, but our recent fleet has all come from Quebec, and I know that by doing that, we are buying Canadian. I mean, this is an investment that can produce tremendous benefits all through the economy. But for Barrie, you know, the investment in helping people get around is just so exciting. And I think for a system that has just had a tremendous year and then COVID, I can say this, Minister Downey, that actually, Minister Downey, we were able to send a letter to your colleague, Kinga Surma, the Associate Minister of Transportation, just the other day, and talk about the fact that it's early yet, but we've seen ridership come back on some of our routes. I think our top route, Brent, is at about 65% already of pre-COVID ridership, which is remarkable given where we're at in the reopening and where we're at in the pandemic. Notwithstanding, we've been able to stop some of the spread. You know, there's still a lot of challenges for folks around using those systems, but we're seeing that confidence, and it speaks to the strength and the importance of today's announcement. So in closing, I do want to thank as well our staff, especially those in the transit department, Mr. Forsyth and his staff, and Ms. James Reed, who runs Access Barrie, because public transit, which was a real challenge for us for years, has become a tremendous success story. And your investment today from the federal, provincial, and our investment as the city is now going to be able to build on that in a way that, as Doug, you said, I believe will be transformational, not only with the new hub at Allendale, finally integrating our public transit out of Barrie, but remarkable in terms of the access for people with mobility challenges and for the population as a whole. So I'll conclude by saying thank you to all those who made today possible.
Thank you very much for the remarks, Mayor Lehman. And again, I wanted to say thank you to Minister Ng to be on this virtual announcement, as well as Minister Downey, and of course our Mayor Lehman as well. And I would also like to thank all of those that did watch this virtually. And we would invite members of the media to contact our media relation teams if you do have further questions or would like further details on this announcement today. So with that, we will say adieu and thank you again to everybody involved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Stay safe, everyone.